Have you ever just felt overwhelmed by the entire home buying process? If you're looking to buy a house, it is a big decision. I completely understand that, and I know there's a lot that goes into it. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about some tips and some guidance in the entire home buying process. And even if you're trying to sell, I'll slide in a selling tip for you too. But hopefully all this information helps to make the process as stressless as possible. For those of you that have not tuned into any of my videos, my name is Stephen Kodabash and I'm a realtor located in the northern Atlanta area, and I get to help people buy and sell houses every day. If you're looking for the house of your dreams, you're out there in the market, or maybe you haven't even gotten out yet, but you've thought in your head, hey, I need to get out and I need to start looking for that house. I need to make that next move. What are the things that you need to do to make the process as easy as possible? One of the early things that you need to do is to take a look around for a lender. Ask family and friends, who have you used in the past? Who have you had a good experience with in the past? Even go to your realtor and say, who have you used in the past with your clients? And they'll give you feedback as well. The lender is a big part of this entire process because they're going to help you secure the loan. And for most of us, we have to secure a loan to buy a house. So if you're paying cash, obviously this doesn't apply to you, but for a majority of people, you have to secure some type of loan or a mortgage on your next property. The lender is important because they have to do a lot of things for us in this entire process to keep the transaction on a tight timeline. So oftentimes in a real estate transaction, time is of the essence for a lot of the items that must become accomplished. So for a lender, they're a key in all of this. So what happens if they have the best rate that you've ever seen, right? But they can't close on time. And if you don't close on time on your loan, then your entire contract is jeopardized. So do your homework and vet out some lenders to make sure that you make a good decision in that aspect of the entire transaction. Hey, before we go further, do me a favor and hit the like button and hit the subscribe button, because you know what? It helps me and you're supporting my channel, so thank you. A second bit of advice for you: put price jumps into perspective. What do I mean by that? Let's say you're out looking for a home and you see a $600,000 house that you really like, and then you see a $610,000 home that you really, really like, and maybe that one is the one, but you're thinking in your head, oh goodness, it's $10,000 more. Well, in the grand scheme of things, if you're taking out a loan, do the math. Take a look at the interest rate and take a look at the extra $10,000 that you would pay and see what the difference is in your monthly payment. And you might find, depending on that interest rate, that difference per month is not that big of a deal. Because if you find a house that may be 10 grand more, but it has some more features and benefits in it that you love, then it's probably worth that $10,000 extra dollars for you. You got to think, you're going to be living in this house. So there is no perfect house, I will say, but you want to find that property that checks as many boxes as possible on your list. And if you find that one that almost checks all those boxes, and like I said, it's a little bit more, do the math and figure out what the difference is in that monthly payment. And that price jump, put it into perspective, look at it from a monthly standpoint and see if you can swing it. A third piece of advice I'll share with you is that there's always another one out there. There's always another house out there. Here's what happens sometimes. You found the one that you really love, you submit an offer, and the seller rejects your offer, and you're not going to get that home. Or maybe you go under contract, you have the home inspection, and then the inspector finds out there are major foundational issues with the home and you have to back out. You can't get that property. So that happens sometimes. That happens. But just keep in mind, and I'll encourage you with this, is that there's always another one out there. That first home that you found that maybe you didn't get, maybe you think, oh, it had 90% of what I was looking for. Sure, maybe it did, but I can almost promise you that there's a high probability there's another house out there that would fit 90% of what you're looking for as well. Now, it might be a little slightly different 90% of what you're looking for, but there's another one out there that you can find that will fit your needs. So keep your head up and don't get discouraged. If you're going to be out looking for a home, you're probably thinking, hey, I've got to sell the one I have. That's kind of stressful too. What do I need to do to make sure that I sell my house and sell it at a high level so I can profit as much as possible? One thing I'll recommend to you is stage your house. If at all possible, stage your house. I would put an emphasis on the living room, master bedroom, and kitchen areas. If you can stage those areas of the home, buyers, when they walk through that door, it helps them to envision the home as if they were going to live there. You know, what will this room look like with, you know, a big kitchen table in it, or, you know, a couch or a recliner or two. It helps them to envision what it will look like if they were to be in the home. So if you can do it, and I know not in every scenario staging is not possible, but if you can stage a portion of the house, that's very helpful. On the selling side, please be aware that there are additional costs that you might not be thinking of that you will incur throughout the process. Some examples would be, you might have to have your home deep cleaned, right? And that's going to be an expense. There might be some minor repairs on your home. That's another expense that you'll have to account for. You might need the home to be landscaped to get it ready for pictures and showings. So those are some of the expenses that you could incur up front or throughout the entire process before your home actually sells. So when you're going through your whole process of budgeting and trying to figure out, you know, a price point at which to sell the home, keep all that into account because it comes out of your profit at the very end. Here's another tip for you buyers, especially first-time home buyers. You might not realize that there are closing costs associated with your loan that you'll have to pay when you purchase the property. Depending on how much you borrow, it's typically 2 to 5% of the borrowed amount. That's what you'll have to pay in closing costs. So keep that in mind when you're putting together your budget and you're thinking through, you know, how much do I have to put down? How much will I owe at closing? So make sure that you consult closely with your lender and your realtor to make sure that you understand what those amounts will look like. Hey, I know the home buying process can be a lot. It can be a lot to think about. There are a lot of moving parts. So I hope in this video, I was able to open your eyes up to a few tips and some guidance for you that will help when you're purchasing your next home. Also on the selling side, hopefully those tips help you as well, because there are some things that you want to make sure you do up front when you're trying to sell so that you can maximize your profit when you sell your home. Before you hop off my channel, do me a favor, take a look at this video that I've published where I talk about those crucial steps that are involved in the home buying process. I go through some detail in that video and I talk about those steps you need to make sure that you take so that you can help make the entire process as stressless as possible. Thanks so much for tuning in. I appreciate you. See you on the next video.